Question number 12, Stuart Smith.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Immigration. Can he confirm that the majority of applications for 13 out of 14 of the most common visa categories listed on the Immigration New Zealand website are currently being processed?
I'm going to get the member to start again and read the question.
What I was. Can he confirm that the majority of the applications for 13 out of 14 of the visa categories listed on the Immigration New Zealand website are currently being processed slower than they were as at 1 November 2017, and does he expect delays to get worse in the near future?
Mr Speaker.
Honourable Ian Galloway.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. In answer to the first part of the member's question, yes. Visa processing times have consistently been getting worse year after year since 2014. Unlike the previous government, who let that happen unchecked, I am taking this matter seriously. I raised it formally with the Chief Executive of MB and the Head of Immigration New Zealand back in May. They have been reporting to me every week on what Immigration New Zealand is doing to turn it around and what progress they are making on visa processing times. My expectations are clear, that Immigration New Zealand should be fully focused on bringing processing times down, and I'm pleased to say they're making good progress. In answer to the second part of the member's question, timeliness in the future will of course be affected by volumes. And right now, more people are applying to come to New Zealand than ever before because of our strong economy and our welcoming community. Nevertheless, I expect Immigration New Zealand to be fully focused on making timely decisions.
Supplementary. When there was an $11.7 million funding boost to Immigration New Zealand for the sole purpose of improving visa processing times, why is there still such a significant delay in visa processing times?
Well, Mr Speaker, to put it shortly, I inherited a mess. And that is why this government has invested so heavily in turning around the declining visa processing times that were occurring under the previous government. So we've reversed some of the decisions that were made under National. The Henderson branch is staying open. The Manila branch is staying open. 177 additional staff have been employed. And as the member rightly points out, more money is going into Immigration New Zealand. And I'm pleased to report that they are making good progress.
Supplementary. Why did his office not respond to a request from me questioning inaccuracies in the data he provided me on visa processing times, and then waited until it was in the media before correcting the information?
Well, Mr Speaker, unfortunately, Immigration New Zealand did provide me with inaccurate information, and they have apologised.
Order. This is quite a serious matter when a minister has been provided with the bad information, and I think it ill behoves members to shout him down when he's trying to indicate what he did about it.
So, Mr Speaker, Immigration New Zealand did unfortunately provide me with inaccurate information, and they have apologised to me for doing so. I became aware that the information was inaccurate on Saturday afternoon. The information was corrected. Immigration staff rallied, got themselves into the office on a Saturday and sorted out the mistake. However, it being on the weekend and the fact that the question would not be able to be corrected in a formal sense until a working day, I didn't see much point in getting parliamentary staff into work as well.
Kieran McAnulty.
What recent feedback has he received from business on visa processing?
Well, I have to say, Mr Speaker, if I'd been getting these questions 12 months or even 6 months ago, I would have to say the feedback was pretty negative. But actually, as I've been going around the country, I can report that the mood is improving. And just this morning, members opposite will want to hear this. Just this morning, Kirk Hope from Business New Zealand told me that efficient visa processing and access to skilled overseas workers is important to New Zealand businesses. While there is always room for improvement, Business New Zealand is pleased with the reduction in essential skills visa processing and acknowledges Immigration New Zealand's engagement with our member organisations.
Supplementary. That concludes oral questions. A point of order, the Honourable Jerry Brown.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I know that you have an ongoing quest to try and make question time better. When we ask questions from the opposition, on notice particularly, there are constraints around what may be put in that question. I just ask that you have a look at, particularly today, several questions that were answered by ministers that were highly inflammatory in much of the content of those questions, including the last one, quite frankly, and Julian Genta earlier in the afternoon. I think it's reasonable that once we get into a supplementary situation, question and answer, that there might be a greater traversing into those sort of general political flicks, but surely not in a response to a question that is on notice. I just ask that you have a look at that and apply your judgment.
I will have a look at that, although I will warn the member that you can't totally take the politics out of Parliament, and especially I think we need to take a little bit of care when we have sometimes some pretty political supplementaries, and I think when that occurs, then there's likely to be a political response. But I do agree with the member that political responses to straight primary questions are not desirable, and I will watch out for that. We come now. Would some honourable member care to move the House take note of miscellaneous?
Mr. Speaker, I so move.